Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Green Room Podcast. I'm Matthew Brune, and joining me once again is Colin Mitchell. And Colin, today we are joined by North Texas running backs coach Patrick Cobbs. Coach, how are you doing today?
Doing well, man. How you guys doing?
Doing all
Great.
right. Like I told you beforehand, Colin canceled his tea time, so I know he's dying on the inside. Also, he works
Perfectly
like
fine.
really weird hours, so getting him up at 9 a.m. is sometimes a chore. But we're here, and we're
We are here.
ready to talk some North Texas football. It's been too long. We've been on the basketball train the past month or so, but we're like, we got to start revving up the football content again. Spring ball's not too far away. And yeah, I always love having you on, Coach.
I appreciate you guys having me. Yeah, well, sorry to wake you up, Colin.
I'll be all right. Brittany's just trying to give me a hard time, but
Coach, did you ever watch the video of when Colin shaved his head? I got to send it to you.
Didn't see, I actually seen the picture of him with a shaved head, but I didn't see
yeah,
him shaving it.
I had to do it again.
That video is our most watched video, I think, at least of the past like 6 months. It's
Yeah,
like 1,000 plus
that.
views.
yeah.
What was that?
I'm glad people wanted to watch my head get shaved.
You took 2 L's, huh?
Yeah, well, the Lions losing really hurt my feelings, and I dyed my hair blue because I went to San Francisco, and I had to shave it because it wasn't coming out of my hair. So it's coming back slowly, but yeah,
Well, the funniest part is Colin's hair beforehand was down to his shoulders.
yeah.
I remember.
So-
Why make a bet like that, man? That's crazy.
It's just our last year he ate the hot chip and he nearly died. It was funny.
Yeah,
Did you get away with the easy way or what?
I'd rather shave my head than eat that chip again. I'm never eating this chip again.
Oh yeah, you got it on. Huh?
Yeah, this is not something I would recommend anybody ever doing. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, let's talk football. Let's talk football.
All right.
There's a lot I want to cover here, Coach, because it's been 8 months since we had you on and got a whole season unfolded. I'll go ahead.
Sorry about this, guys.
All good.
No, you're fine.
Switch on a day off, right? You get your
Yeah, day off. Here, let me. All right, crisis averted. Coach Cobbs took care of of everything. All right, let's talk about last year real quick before we get into this off season. Obviously, a 5-7 year for y'all. We obviously covered it, and 5-7 year overall, we were overall impressed with. You had the early loss to FIU, and if you get that one, and it's 6-6, and it's just the margins and stuff. But last year for you, what was it like working with Coach Morris, ending with a top 20 offense in the country, having that type of year on the offensive side of the ball?
It's it's fun. Being able to adjust to a new staff without having to adjust to a new building is pretty nice for me. But it was fun getting to know those guys and kind of building trust and relationships and understanding from each other as the year went on was fun. You bring up the FIU game as kind of the story of our season, right? Just if we could have just got that, or we could have just did this, 5 games were like that, and could have said we could have been 10-2. 5 1-score games. So it's just, but at the end of the day, we're 5-7. We are what our record is, and we got some improving to do, but we definitely have something to build on.
What's the biggest difference with coaching running backs under Morris? We kind of asked you that question, I guess, in the fall of last year, but with different protections and running backs having to catch passes. What was that like?
It's kind of, it's just more passing. It's all the same kind of system, all the same kind of stuff. Just the ratio of pass to runs a little different. And so our goals changed as a running back group. Our goals were to be explosive when we had the opportunity to touch the ball. And, whether that touch was through receiving or getting handed off or whatever the case may be, just taking advantage of opportunities when the ball's in your hand.
Yeah, I was curious because early in the season, you could tell, the offense kind of getting comfortable with Coach Morris, the system and stuff, because you had a lot of returners on that team as well. Did it take some time for like the offensive linemen, the running backs, even the receivers to kind of all get comfortable with Morris's offense, and then also, you know, having the quarterback swap after a couple games? Like, did that take a few games for the returners?
Adjusting to a new system, not really a new system, but adjusting to different coaching philosophies within a system does take a little time, you know, getting it exactly the way, you know, the coach wants it, and being on the same page group to group, and, you know, Chandler really stepping up and really taking the offense was a real big part of our success last year. And, you know, not turning the ball over, really, that was the key deal with him. Like, he didn't turn the ball over. He made plays when you're supposed to make plays, and he took care of the football. And, you know, there's a lot to be said about that when that guy's got the ball and makes the decisions every play. If he's making the right ones, you're usually pretty good.
Were you getting to see Eric Morris, who has worked with really good quarterbacks before, and how he kind of develops quarterbacks? Did anything surprise you about how he handled like the quarterback, how he handled Chandler, and just how he kind of developed him?
You know, Coach Morris has a say over all that stuff, but I can't not give credit to Coach Brophy. I mean, he did a great
For
job
sure.
room and being in there. I know how much those guys work. Quarterbacks work, you know, 3 or 4 times as hard as everybody else. You know, they have to know everything, and in this system, they're asked to do a lot. And so, you know, the grind that Coach Brophy did and getting those guys ready to play football can't be underestimated. He did a heck of a job of preparing those guys week in and week out, and it showed when they got on the field.
For sure. And the first year in the American, was there any noticeable difference between the teams that y'all faced in Conference USA and the American? Like, like just against a Tulane and Memphis, for example, you normally don't play, you know, opponents like that.
You know, we played Memphis.
I guess Memphis, yeah, but
played Memphis the year before, and we played SMU. So those, you know, 2 really good football teams. Tulane was a little different, different style of play, but it was fun going to new. But at the end of the day, we played a lot of teams that we were playing over years past with all the Conference USA teams. You know, we played Navy, Temple. You know, the Navy game kind of comes back and haunts us a little bit too. So it's just a bunch of fun teams within a conference that I think has a chance to keep building in the right direction.
for sure.
Yeah. Well, we'll move off of last year now, because now you have me also reliving those games.
You
Oh
get
man.
for whether it's good or bad. You know, a new season is a new opportunities. It's a different team. So I mean, it's sometimes it's good to look back on the history of it, but at the end of the day, there's no carryover. Every season's new, and you get to start all over.
Yeah. Like I said before, overwhelmingly, like at least to us, I thought the positives of the season, like just in general, were really tangible and were good for this program moving forward. Um, let's move to the offseason a little bit. Obviously, transfer portal, at least for your room, Io, Oscar, a couple other backs, hit the portal, look for new opportunities there. Just how do you approach that challenge as a coach, and just, you know, overall, you know, handling the transition of players moving in and out of your room right now?
You know, with the guys leaving, you know, those guys were with me for 4
Yeah.
so, and all the guys that left, I mean, besides BK, they all graduated. Like Oscar graduated, Io graduated, Isaiah graduated. They all graduated in December. They did it the right way. You know, I'm happy for those guys. Still talk to them. I mean, I have no problem with what they did. But the adjustment is football will go on. I told those guys, and I've been telling them for years, year after year, that, you know, football will be here before football was here before us, and it'll be here after us. So when they decide to leave, you know, good luck to them. We'll always be family. We'll always whatever, but I got to replace them. And every year I try to replace them. So even when I'm recruiting high school kids, I'm trying to, you know, recruit up. And so it's a competition thing. So this year was a little different because I did have to bring in 4 guys into the room, which is rare, but it's a fun challenge, man, of combing through the running backs, trying to find somebody that fits your system, that, you know, is going to do things the right way. And, you know, it's speed dating at the end of the day. You're talking to guys real fast and kind of moving on, and you're just hoping that you pick the right ones at the end of the day.
You went in the portal and got some high level players. Zach Evans was one guy that I'm really excited about. What did you really like about him?
Zach does a good job of running the football. He's very polished back. You could tell that he got a lot of good coaching in Minnesota. He's from right down the street. He was kind of in the system, the run system in high school, being from Heath. But he's a good polished back, man. He does a good job of getting downhill, running in between the tackles, doing all the things. When I turn the film on, he's a bigger back with nice quickness that really understands running scheme. And he has 3 years left. And so being so polished at such a young age is something that kind of caught my eye.
Yeah, and then Trey Bradford, who I covered here at LSU. I mean, LSU's had 8 scholarship backs last year, so it was just kind of everybody was kind of either buried or trying to fight for snaps. But when he did get on the field, you could see that explosiveness. I mean, first play of the season against Florida State goes for 60 yards. Just how did you kind of evaluate him, and then how did you get in contact with him and kind of work everything out?
So Trey's obviously explosive. He was super explosive in high school, super explosive in college. He has a different gear that we hadn't had in the room in a long time. And so just, seeing that on film and a lot of it, with him is having to go back to his high school because his carries were kind of limited in college, but excited about Trey. And then the relationship with Trey kind of built through Coach Gilbert. So Coach Gilbert was his high school coach. Coach Gilbert's our tight ends coach, but he was his high school coach, and just reaching out to him and talking to him. And then Kevin Falk at LSU, I called and reached out to him. Kevin's a big time mentor to me when I was in the NFL. He recruited Trey to LSU, and just talking with Falk, doing my background and all the things with Trey kind of got me excited and went all in after him.
Ragsdale kind of missed most of the season last year after getting hurt at FIU. What has his recovery been like?
I mean, he's a hardworking kid, man, and I'm excited about him coming back and getting healthy and jumping back in. And things have changed the way people come back from these knee injuries now. Like, I mean, AP showed you after an ACL you can rush for 2,000 yards. So I'm not counting anything out. Like, Akaika is the guy that understands the offense. He's a veteran guy. He's doing everything that he can to get healthy and be the guy. So it'll be exciting when this fall rolls around and all those guys, knock on wood, are healthy and competing. And when you got high competition in your room, you have a chance to have a really special room.
Yeah, I know y'all haven't had spring ball yet, which, right now it's kind of just workouts. But in general, with how much of the roster is kind of new, is it kind of like a reset for this new staff to obviously, have its hand in getting the personnel that it wants in there, not specifically at running back, but just across the board, with players leaving, players going. Just what is that reset kind of like for a staff that's going into year 2?
It was good. We signed a lot of new players, and almost 30 of them were high school players. And I'm kind of excited about that. I'm in the developmental stage in my career. I like to develop kids and get them right and build them and see the growth. But in this game, in this age these days, fans don't want to wait that long. Like, they need it now. And with the transfer portal, they expect it. But I'm happy that we went out and signed 28, 29 high school kids, and we got some portal guys, and I think we got some good pieces to fill in and be really good players. We started a lot of freshmen last year in the secondary, and I was excited about those guys, and Landon Sides playing, and we had some freshmen step up in big ways, and who knows? I mean, those guys get on campus and somebody always surprises you. I mean, somebody's going to surprise us this spring, somebody's going to surprise us next fall, and those are the things that gets me excited.
What's it like navigating the NIL and all of that, and then having to be, competitive with the transfer portal to kind of keep up, it seems?
Man, I haven't, the NIL, everybody talks about it, and I haven't really navigated much. I've been recruiting and business as normal. Like, guys wants to go to Oklahoma, or a guy wants to go to Oklahoma State and they're going to pay him. I'm not going to fight that battle.
Yeah.
Battles that I'm going to have to fight are against, you know, other schools in the American and things like that. So I think at that point it just comes down to relationships, like it always has. Like if a kid wants to go to a Power Five, he's going to go to the Power Five, like regardless of what he's getting paid. I think that there's a big emphasis on money, and I think the money's more about trying to keep the kids that you got on campus than it is trying to go out and pay other guys, because just it's just such a slippery slope. When does it stop? What if you get a guy here and you pay him some money and then he doesn't play? And then the next, like, well, I played and he's getting paid money. Like it's just a never ending cycle. And that's something that I don't get involved in, something that I'm not looking for to dealing with ever. But I just, my deal is all about relationships. And if he wants to be here and he wants to play here, then heck, I want to coach him here. So that's just kind of where I'm at with it. I don't talk about money. I don't know anything about money. I just try to call them and recruit them, and then somebody else handles that.
Yeah. Recruiting in general, with this staff, I mean, obviously y'all went Texas heavy, which isn't abnormal, but what has it been like recruiting with this staff? Is there any like noticeable different in approach with this staff compared to the last staff? Not good or bad, just kind of different.
I mean, we're out recruiting. We got a lot of young guys on our staff, a lot of veteran, a lot of high school coaches on our staff. So that helps. I think when you got a bunch of high school coaches or former high school coaches on your staff, you know how to go into a high school and talk to those coaches and, ask the right questions and spend a little time with them and not have the sharp edge that sometimes college coaches go into high schools with that's never been a high school coach. So I think the difference is a bunch of former high school coaches, a bunch of younger coaches going in and being able to create relationships with players and things like that has really helped us over the trail the last 2 years.
And then I did want to ask about Ashton Gray, who y'all were able to sign out of Arkansas, 2024 running back, consensus 3-star guy. Just what are your thoughts on him? And for those of us who don't know his game, just how would you describe it?
Yeah, so he's from Marion, Arkansas, man, which is just outside of Memphis, Tennessee. Actually, he's just across the border. He played quarterback in high school, ran for like 1,900 yards, but 1,300. So, I mean, he's a running back playing quarterback, and that's what I seen when I recruited him. He's a good athlete, good sized kid who runs, who is a pleasure to talk to. I mean, a pleasure to talk to. Just being a quarterback, understanding the game, knowing what everybody has to do, just kind of gives you a different perspective on the running back position. But at the end of the day, he hasn't been a running back. So there will be some development. There'll be some growth there, but I think his ceiling's really high. But all this looks good on paper. I mean, all the transfers, all the, the running back room, everything looks good on paper. At the end of the day, when the ball's spotted and when we go to practice, we'll see what these kids are made of.
Yeah,
for sure.
All right, Coach. I think that's it. Who you got in the Super Bowl?
You would ask me that. You know what?
You would ask me that, he said, Colin. Sorry.
Win it. But I don't really care for, Purdy to win one, and I don't really care for Mahomes to win one. I just kind of so I think here's the deal, and I'm an offensive guy, but they have two really good defenses, and I could see if it isn't a high scoring game that some people, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not a high scoring game at the end of the day. There are two really good football teams and two really good defenses, and kind of want to see what these two running backs do. Actually, Christian, he's a stud, and so it'll be fun.
And did you take any vacations after the season? Did you get to spend some time or go anywhere in like January or something like that?
I have not taken any vacations, man. We have not had a lot of time off. I drove up during Christmas and seen my mom spend the night up there. Other than that, I've been at home, man. Like, we haven't had a bunch of time off just with the transfer portal and recruiting. And like, the window's been like, this is I got a day off today and fired up about it. You know what I mean? So we'll see if we get some more time off, if I can plan a trip. But right now, have nothing in the works.
Yeah. That's like a big thing for college coaches right now is the schedule, is the is the figuring out everything. I hope, and I think all the coaches hope that it's kind of straightened out at some point to where it's not as tedious as it is right now.
Yeah, I mean it's work though. I mean, at the end of the
Yeah.
day, you got to do what you got to do. But it's a job we signed up for. I love what I do, so I'm not going to sit here and complain about any of it. But it does feel good to have a couple of days off every once in a while.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, we appreciate you joining us on your one day off. You got here.
All right, man. Coach Morse takes care of us. He's actually giving us the whole weekend off, so it's a pretty good deal, man. Can't be mad at that.
There you go.
All right, Coach. Thank you for joining us. As always, if y'all enjoy the podcast, leave a like, comment, share, subscribe on YouTube. And yeah, we will talk to y'all later.
Appreciate it. I'm about to go watch that video of you shaving your head, man.
Dude, it was a trip. I mean, because I had moved into my house and I didn't get a haircut for it would have been 5 months. So normally, like I kept a flow, but I didn't keep it that long. So when I was doing it, it was like Brune was more scared than me. Like I was shaving it and he was like
I felt
freaking
bad.
out. Yeah, he felt bad, and I'm sitting here laughing.
You feel bad, man.
I didn't think going from that, it's like a shock factor. He was bald, zero, and I was like, man, he had to take his Christmas pictures beforehand. Like his wife is over here, like, oh my gosh, and I'm just like, dang. Glad it wasn't me though. That's all I know.
Next year is we have to run a half marathon.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, a little bit more like beneficial for us, I guess.
There you go.
There you go.
That's
true.
Just walk it. No, just kidding.
No, he's got to be under a certain time. We're gonna set a time.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to be like, all right, you got to run in this time, or else we're doing it again.
Oh, yeah. Well, sweet. Yeah. That's awesome. I appreciate you guys having me on, man. It was a pleasure.
For sure, Coach. We'll bother you again sometime before the season, probably over summer.
Absolutely. Sounds good.
All right, Coach. Thanks.